Captivated from the world of sharks and pitches? Are you curious for more? Well, you've landed on the right spot. We have got a lot of anticipated startups that have came this week, and the very first of it is Kibo. So Kibo is basically an AI technology that promotes eyes and ears to the visually disabled people out there. I feel like the startup idea is amazing because it's helping people out there, and so I just want to get your approach onto the product and how wonders will it do in the market.
Kibo, I agree, is a very interesting startup. They got a deal of 10 crores while they were asking for 60 crores. Does not matter much to me because that deal really depends on what is their current business size. But what is more important for me is that this startup is creating an awareness on solving a big social problem through using a technology that is now rapidly gaining more and more popularity. So the cue that we take from this kind of a startup is that there are real problems to solve. There could be problems related to hunger, there could be problems related to education, problems related to healthcare. So we have to really pick up a problem that people are really facing and then use our technology, our solution to solve it. And when it comes to investment here, there are more options that will open up for such startups. There will be grants from government. There will be institutions which want to support. I mean, there could be hospitals, government-run hospitals, or colleges that want to create this kind of facility for their students, and international markets also. More than that, there would be just private donors who want to give to a cause like this. So if our cause is important and it is solving something that is real in the society, there will be support. If you're a young entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur, wanting to build something, find a problem that is existing in the society and you will get the support to solve it.
And the only thing that I really want to ask, sir, if the modification is required rather than sticking onto the initial idea of making the product, so is it necessary to carry on the initial product that we are planning to, or rather if the modifications can be done, then that should be implanted on the product as well?
We should, yeah. So entrepreneurship is a constant iterative process. We have to keep learning as we build, and we have to keep making those improvisation. Of course, the larger dream has to be there, that this is what I'm trying to solve. But whatever is needed to solve that, we should be very open and flexible in making those modifications.
So the next startup approach was Quirksmith. So Quirksmith approach was to add on to the silver jewelry, the handcrafted work of poetic things. Well, so as we've seen, the ladies came out with the baffled idea of doing this, and it was amazing. But here we see the lack of communication between each other and the lack of idea perspective to make their product run.
Personally, I'm not into jewelry, so it's not something that I relate to or I can comment a lot on. But just on the business model or the business domain that they are in, and whether they should be seeking an investment. Some businesses are such which don't need to scale too much. Investors will come in when there is a business which can, from 1, it can grow to 10 to 100, 100 to 1000. That's the kind of business in which investors are interested in coming in. But ये जो business है ना, Quirksmith जैसा, this is a business of passion. कि क्योंकि मेरे को ये अच्छा लगता है इसलिए मैं करूँगा. अब वो बिजनेस कितना बड़ा होगा इससे मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. आई एम जस्ट गेटिंग जॉय ऑफ रनिंग समथिंग इरिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ द साइज ऑफ दैट. एंड व्हेन आई एम डूइंग समथिंग लाइक दैट, आई शुड रियली नॉट बॉदर कि मेरी वैल्यू क्या है, मेरे पास कोई इन्वेस्टर है क्या नहीं है. अगर मेरा बिजनेस सस्टेनेबली चल रहा है, जितना मुझे प्रॉफिट चाहिए उसमें से मिल रहा है, then it's a happy thing for me. I think Quirksmith is in that kind of a domain.
Only if they would have a very strong vision about their products, I would have felt कि they might have been a trendsetter to the society, the poetic qualities. It was a very different idea about the jewelry. So, but eventually they couldn't get to the point where they can get the deal.
Yeah, because it's not a scalable business, I think, at this stage. Right. And investors are right. I mean, investors will invest only if the business has a huge potential to scale.
So the very next approach of startup was Hyperlab, the amazing steal and the showstopper of the very episode, I'd rather say. One thing that is seen in a sports person is the stamina, agility, as well as their reflexes, right? So, the product that they're bringing are covering all three aspects, where IPL as a sports is thriving, and Olympics, 10 lakh rupees equity for one person, and they ended up getting 25 lakhs. So
I am really amazed by the startup Hyperlab. I think this was the highlight of the season so far, not just this week but the whole season so far. 10 करोड़ की वैल्यूएशन मांगने आए थे, 25 करोड़ की वैल्यूएशन लेके जा रहे हैं. आई थिंक प्रॉब्ली शार्क टैंक की हिस्ट्री में ऐसा फर्स्ट टाइम हुआ होगा. और इन्होंने एक अर्ली टेक्नोलॉजी और एक वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग प्रॉब्लम का सही एक मिक्स बनाया एट अ वेरी अर्ली टाइम. जब इस पे ज़्यादा लोग सोच नहीं रहे हैं. तो अभी they are saying how you can get trained on your basic sports, but just on that they would not have got the valuation, क्योंकि शार्क्स को दिख रहा है कि इसका फ्यूचर पोटेंशियल क्या है, एंड फ्यूचर पोटेंशियल इसका बहुत ज़्यादा हो सकता है. वन इज ऑफ कोर्स शार्क्स ऑल्सो टोल्ड कि इसकी इंटरनेशनल मार्केट्स काफ़ी बड़ी हैं, बिकॉज दे हैव द पेइंग कैपेसिटी, स्पोर्टिंग कल्चर वहाँ पे ऑलरेडी है, इंडिया में भी बढ़ रहा है. सो देयर इज स्पोर्टिंग के अराउंड देयर इज डेफिनेटली अ यूज केस, बट आई थिंक इस स्टार्टअप के यूज केस और भी ज़्यादा हो सकते हैं. वेर एवर देयर इज समथिंग टू डू विद मूवमेंट ट्रैकिंग, इट कुड बी हेल्पिंग पीपल हु हैव मोबिलिटी प्रॉब्लम्स. लेट्स से मुझे फिजियोथेरेपी के साथ एक सम काइंड ऑफ सपोर्ट क्रिएट करना है. दिस काइंड ऑफ अ स्टार्टअप और दिस काइंड ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी कैन बी मैसिव फॉर आर्म फोर्सेस की ट्रेनिंग, मिलिट्री ट्रेनिंग करनी है, मुझे उस तरह का कुछ काम करना है. इट कुड बी वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग फॉर थिएटर. So wherever there is some kind of a movement associated, so there are spin-offs of the same technology to more and more use cases. वो हमें उसको बनाते बनाते पता लगता है. And the sharp investors, they see that kind of a potential in a particular product, and I think that is what happened in this case. That's why जिस वैल्यूएशन पे वो आए थे उससे 2.5 गुना ज़्यादा पे लेके जा रहे हैं.
And so, to be honest, seeing India's growth in Olympics, as a sport, country that's moving towards the very field, as well as the military evaluation that you talked about, where the military approach is also increasing. So, sir, I think can you think about the government subsidizing the rates for people who'd be needing this product for the?
Perhaps what the government can do is the government perhaps will purchase these equipment for a lot of sports academies or military training academies that they are running themselves. Right. But I think private people, gyms, physiotherapy centers, schools, sports academies, I think they would be very willing to purchase. And high income people, I think a lot of them will just buy it as their hobby.
So the last two approaches that was there in the very episode was Hura and the Toffee Coffee Roasters. So in both the approaches, I felt ki they were lacking behind the differentiation wala part. Hura came up with the idea of giving at-place service of car washing and everything, charging double the amount. Whereas talking about Toffee Coffee Roasters, they were in luck that they got the deal. But it's such a competitive market of coffee right now, and the coffees are providing such low rates these days with flavors and out there. But in their perspectives, they're charging much higher and everything, but they still got the deal. So what can be the reason, sir, that they might have gotten up the deal? And
Shark may have seen something deeper that we can't see here, that they got the deal, but I agree it's a very competitive market. Right. It's not something that I see personally which can scale a lot, but there are other reasons, because when I'm a shark, I'm looking at my whole portfolio. Maybe I've invested in 100 companies. Maybe I see some synergy कि अगर मैं इसमें यहाँ पे इन्वेस्ट करके इस स्टार्टअप को उसके साथ कोलैबोरेट करके बहुत ग्रो करवा सकता हूँ या बाद में एक्वायर करवा सकता हूँ. सो ऑल दीज कैलकुलेशंस आर गोइंग ऑन इन द माइंड्स ऑफ द शार्क. इट डज नॉट नेसेसरली मीन दैट पर्टिकुलर बिजनेस इंडिपेंडेंटली हैज a lot of potential to scale, which I in this case don't see. Similarly for Hura, and Hura के केस में I think right now also the business is not very robust, और आगे जाके इसमें मुझे और भी अपॉर्चुनिटी कम लगती है, क्योंकि more and more will be moving to right now इंडिया में वॉशिंग इसलिए होती है because there is a dusty environment. Right. And dusty environment इसलिए है क्योंकि lot of construction is going on, but ऐसा नहीं है कि construction चलती रहेगी. आप अगर किसी और कंट्री से कंपेयर करोगे वहाँ पे इतने कार वॉश होते ही नहीं हैं जितने यहाँ पे होते हैं. The learning that we can take away is कि इस तरह के जो कुछ fancy ideas होते हैं which may be exciting for us, we should definitely attempt that, but इसको हमें अपने कम उम्र में ही attempt कर लेने चाहिए, so that we get our learnings and then quickly build something that can stick and scale. Otherwise हम when we are let's say 40-50 years of age और उस टाइम पे हम एक्सपेरिमेंट करने लगे इस तरह के, so then it becomes very difficult. इसी तरह का एक दूसरा स्टार्टअप आया था which was into sports academy. वो बच्चों को क्रिकेट खिला रहे हैं, कहीं टूर्नामेंट में ले जा रहे हैं. Again people have started this at a very later stage of their life. Good idea कि वो कर रहे हैं, अपना पैशन फॉलो कर रहे हैं, but not a scalable business, क्योंकि वो ऐसा है should have been attempted at an early stage of their life, ताकि उसमें से सीख करके वो कुछ और scalable business बना पाते.
True. And so I feel like Hura's approach was so I'd rather say consumed कि they cannot think of multidisciplinary approach. They might have came with 3 services at a time. You pay 1,000 rupees and we can provide you 3 services that you might choose in the app. So they could have come up with very innovative ideas that they didn't think of, and was particularly sticking up to the car wash wala idea, which was thoda sa peculiar.
So our business offering, at least in the initial days, should be very simplistic. Right. We should not overcomplicate our business in its early days.
That was pretty much it for the episodes that we went through the very week. Make sure to like, subscribe and share our videos as well, so that you never know, your next comment maybe our next video's demand. So, thank you.